guys, it's Rogaway here and I'm back with another tutorial, and today we are talking about creating an online portfolio. All right, and if you look at any well-known photographer or graphic designer or anybody in the digital media field, you'll find that they always have a portfolio that they can share. Nowadays, obviously, it makes sense to have an online portfolio and a printed portfolio, but for most applications, having an online portfolio is great because you can send it to a client or a potential customer or a potential employer. So it's great to have an online portfolio. That's what we're going to look at today. And we're going to look at a service which is completely free, unless you want to pay for the paid for editions. But we're going to look at Wix. And I actually have a tutorial on this on the channel already, but this is an updated version because Wix has changed since. And so we're going to look at how to get started with Wix and how to create the site that is going to work for you for your portfolio. Now, I've already got a website over here, and I am just dragging some of my work, some of my photography, and some of my graphic design stuff off of there so that I can build a site here to show you with some real examples. But first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to sign in. We're going to create a free account. All right, so right here, sign up. I am going to put in my information, and I'm going to get in here and get started. So you would start by creating an account. Once you get in there, I've already skipped it, but yours is probably going to come up with some questions asking what kind of a portfolio you're planning on making. And you would choose portfolio for graphics or photography, depending on which one you're making it for. And it'll kind of customize your results based on that. But I'm already past that, and I'm going to go create my website. Really easy. And there's the questions. This is what I was talking about. What kind of website do you want to create? So we got all sorts of options here for different types of sites. And what we're looking at is portfolio and CV, which is kind of just fancy name for a resume. So we're going to click that. And it's going to say, should we let it create a website for you, or should we create it with the editor? And I don't like anything really super automatic, and I find that this does an okay job, but we want to have control. So we are going to use the editor, and we're going to choose a template. So let's click that. Now here's what Wix is going to do for us. It's going to give us a bunch of choices for different starting points for our site. And each one of these is a template that we can look at and see if we like the look or the style of the site. So we can click View, and it'll show us what this site looks like, and most of them are fairly simple. I'm going to just close that. You can see there's a resume section in this one, there's projects, there's a contact page. And the nice thing is up here in the top left corner, we can see how it's going to look on the computer, but we can also see how it's going to look on a phone, which nowadays is ridiculously important that you are compatible with mobile devices. So if I don't like this one, I can simply go back. If I do like this one, I can edit the site up here. We'll get to that in a second. But I'm going to find one that I think looks good. So I'm just going to close this tab. I'm not a fan of that one. Let's say I like this one. I'm going to just view it, make sure it's okay. Let's say this is the one I think looks great. All right, I think, man, that looks really, really nice. It's a one-pager, but it looks really cool and really trendy. It's got a gallery section and a resume section. I like this one. So we'll start with this one. I'm going to click Edit this site. And you notice to the right it says the price. And very few of the templates actually have a price attached. Most of them are free. So we're going to hit Edit this site. And here we go. Now it's going to load the editor in the browser window. It takes a few seconds for that to come up. And basically it's going to give us tools that we can use to edit this page to our custom site. Now we could have watched that video. It gives us a little overview of how it works and that, but I'm going to tell you anyways so that you don't have to worry about it. But here now you'll see everything is now editable. So this is the main page. We can click, we can edit the text, and I can put my name, J. Rago. This doesn't make any sense. I'll put my full name, and we can change the font. We could change the heading style, change the font size. All right, we have to select it. We can change if it's bold or italic or what. We'll go here and I'll just add my last name like so, and we can adjust the blocks to whatever looks good. So here I was what? 78. I'll do the same on this side just so it matches. So you can see that this is very easy. It basically makes your website into a very user-friendly sort of a design page. All right, all drag and drop, easy to manipulate. All right, so that is not me, by the way. I don't look nearly as good as that guy. But now let's say we want to change the background, or we want to make more changes. We can change the background here. We can choose some pre-made backgrounds, which I don't recommend using. I would recommend you upload your own. And the way you would do that is you go into images, and you're going to have this media section that comes up, and you're going to upload your images from your computer. Now, like I said, I've got some all ready to go here, so I'll just open them. And it's going to upload. Now, it's very important that you use a format that Wix allows you to use. So PNGs, JPEGs, GIFs, I believe will work. But stay away from Photoshop. Stay away from Illustrator. I don't know if EPS will work. I don't think they do. So just make sure you're using compatible formats, okay? So let's say this picture, I like this picture. Let's say that's my photo I want as the background. I think that looks wicked. So now I can go in here, I can say photographer and designer. Okay, something like that. And I've got kind of a starting point for my first page. So you can see how you can really quickly easily edit the elements on the page. Okay, over on the right hand side you got this little toolkit that'll let you do things like copy and trash items and duplicate. You can arrange them and align them, you can rotate them, you can do all sorts of neat things with that over on the side and get some information on how it's going to look. But now let's say we're happy with this first page, we want to start going to the next page within this site. You'll see these buttons on the left side, which are very important. We can go menus and pages, and we can switch to the section that we want to edit next. So let's say we want to work on the About section. We can click that, and you'll see that the page scrolls down, and this now becomes our next editable area of the website. All right, so that is how we can switch between the different areas. We can also click these three dots and delete or reorder or rename the sections to whatever we want. If you rename a section, obviously the button, let me just go to the home. If I go home, I don't know why it's not letting me go home, I'll just scroll. If you change the name of any of those, that's going to reflect up here on the button list that will allow you to jump through the site to different areas. So it's all automatic, it's all really easy, and it's pretty awesome. You can add new pages down here. You could link your pages to external sites or to other menus if you want. This is where you handle the navigation of the site and the editing of the individual pages. All right, now let's say you don't like, you like the starting point, but you don't like everything about this site, and you want to maybe change it up and make new additions to the site. You'll now notice that these buttons have become smaller, and they grow as I click on them. So background, pretty self-explanatory. So for the section we're in, if we want to change the background, We can put whatever we want, and again, we can apply videos and images from our library, which makes sense because it is our portfolio. Or we could just do solid colors. This one here, add, is probably the most important one that you can use. Now in add, it's going to be a big menu. We have all these different elements that we can add to our site. Things like galleries, which is great for portfolios. Things like images and text, shapes, interactive objects, buttons, you name it, video players. You've got a lot of options here for things that you can add to the site to make it more interesting and more engaging to the people that you are trying to show your stuff off to. All right, now let's say in this site, I like the gallery layout already. So we'll go to the gallery and I want to change the photos in here to my photos. I can simply click the gallery and go to settings, and it's going to go into the actual gallery settings, and I'll be able to manage the media that is inside of that gallery. I can also change the layout of it. There's all sorts of settings within here that change the way the gallery will work. All right, so if I go into manage media, I am going to select my media. All right, I'm going to actually get rid of all of their stuff. I'm just going to delete it all. And I'm going to add my own media to it. You'll notice that each one, when you click it, you can add a title and a description. So you can make it really fancy if you want. And I'm going to add some images of my own. And here's the ones that I uploaded earlier, and I'm going to add them to the page. So now these become the gallery of this page. All right, so there's the 6 images. I'm going to say done. And now you'll see that the gallery contains my images. All right, so this is really great. And if I'm making a portfolio and I want people to see my work, obviously I want to be able to display my stuff. And so I want to upload all of my images. Now it's very important you don't use the default images anywhere on your site. Those are copyright images. You do not own them. This is somebody else's stuff, so you have to make sure to change out all the default images. Those are simply there as placeholders just to show you how it would look if you had images in all those spots. We also have this apps option. You can add apps to your site and you can go through that. Some of them are paid. This is how Wix makes their money. Some of the apps, it's a market, so you have to actually pay for those add-ons. You can also look at your uploads so you can see the images that you've added. You can add a bookings to your site, so if people want to make appointments with you or they want to pay you, again, this is an extra cost, but you can manage your business through your website. And last but not least, you can add a blog. And again, some blogs or some blog features are paid features. So depending on how advanced you want that blog to be, you can decide whether or not you want to pay to add that on. Now at any point while I'm editing the site, I can always switch to mobile view and I can look at how the site looks on my phone. All right, and so let's just skip that and let's take a quick look at the site. Now you can see right away, and I'm just using the scrolly wheel, this looks horrible on mobile. Looked good on the full screen, but we can move things, we can edit things. I can change the size of this type here because it's too big. And I'm only editing it for the mobile version of the site. I'm not editing the desktop version. You'll see that in the desktop version it's still exactly the same. But the mobile version now will have that reduced text on the second line so that it fits the screen properly. All right, so this is a nice feature. Now, when I have done some editing and I feel like I'm coming along with this nicely, I'm going to hit the save button up here and save my website. It's going to give me a URL for where I can check out my site. All right, you can copy this or you can edit it. I can change the ending to whatever I want. I could call it my portfolio or whatever makes sense to me. Shouldn't be all caps. And this becomes the URL of your site. Now again, for an added cost, they will allow you to publish it to a www.whatever for an added cost. But for now, we're just going to use the default URL that they've given us. All right, so that's what we got to do. You got to make sure to always save your work before you close the site. Very important. You don't want to close it without saving the work that you've done. And finally, at any point, you can preview it to see what it's going to look like in the browser full screen. You see it's looking really good. We can obviously go and edit it to get all of our work in there. Click back to the editor. And at the very end, when you want to share this with other people, you would click the publish button, and that would allow you to share it at that URL that they've given you so that you can share that link to whoever you'd like to see your work. All right, so that is Wix. Very, very easy to use. You don't have to be a web designer. You don't have to know any coding or anything crazy to use it. Everything that you need is built in, and it's completely editable, which makes life really, really easy when you're working in this sort of format. All right, so I'd like to see everybody create a nice site where we could go and take a look at the work that you've done. Again, down the road, if you ever want to promote yourself and you want to share your work with other people, this is your best option. A lot of people will say, well, why don't I just put Instagram or my Facebook or my Twitter or whatever else I've got? Those are great, but those are not portfolios. Those are social media. So make sure you link to those off of your site so that they can check that out. Your site should be where they can actually contact you and get in touch, as it says here, so that they can actually book you to do some work for them. All right, I hope you found that useful. Till next time, thanks for watching. Can't wait to see your portfolios.